I'll tell you this, if these allegations are true, what Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, is saying right now about the Biden administration, then there's absolutely no excuse for what they are doing, allegedly withholding really important life-saving medical treatment. Unbelievable, these allegations that I want to talk to you about today. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Trish Regan Show. I am Trish. And hey, by the way, I just want to remind you all, if you have not signed up for my Locals channel, I really want to do that. I'm actually going to be live on Locals this Friday, taking all of your questions in a streaming session. I'm really looking forward to that. So do me that favor. Go to my trishregan.locals.com, sign up, or if you're watching this right now on Rumble, if you look at the top corner there, you can actually subscribe to my Locals channel right here, because Rumble and Locals are all one big happy family. And if you're on YouTube, do me the favor of subscribing to the channel and giving this a thumbs up. It's pretty important. But again, make sure you go over to Locals. I will be there Friday taking all of your questions. I really look forward to it. But let's get back to what's happening here in terms of Florida, because there's really no excuse for this. It's really pretty indefensible. Actually, that's a word that the governor is using there in Florida. Florida Governor DeSantis coming out this week and battling with the Biden administration over the distribution of these life-saving coronavirus treatments. U.S. health regulators are apparently regulating the emergency use of certain antibody treatments, which leaves 2,000 Floridians not able to access the care, the treatment that they need. According to the governor, 2,000 Floridians had appointments for these treatments canceled because regulators are allegedly very carefully doling this out. And of course, the concern always is how much of this is tied to it being Florida and it being a conservative state run by a conservative governor. And some of the allegations are, in fact, that Florida is being unfairly penalized. If that's in fact true, it is indefensible. Ron DeSantis tweeting out, quote, "Without a shred of clinical data to support his decision, the Biden administration has revoked the emergency use authorization for life-saving monoclonal antibody treatments. Floridians have benefited from the state's treatment sites, and their access to treatment shouldn't be denied based on the whims of a floundering president." Well, a little bit of a dig there, but he goes on to say this indefensible edict takes treatment out of the hands of medical professionals and will cost some Americans their lives. There are real-world implications to Biden's medical authoritarianism. Americans' access to treatments is now subject to the whims of the failing president. I mean, this really is pretty scary stuff. In fact, if the federal government is deciding who can get treatment, who cannot, that really is kind of, I think, an appropriate use of words, medical authoritarianism. Because if people feel that they are benefiting from these treatments and there's evidence suggesting they are, why would we be denying them this? That's a real concern. He goes on to say that again, it's a kind of medical authoritarianism, and there's no place for it right now. There's no. I've said from the beginning, look, why would you make this political? And don't forget, that's exactly what they did. Do you remember when Kamala Harris was out there saying that she wouldn't take the vaccine if it came out under Donald Trump? I mean, you want to talk about the epitome of the height of politicization? That was what she said. Chuck Schumer said something similar. I mean, and now they're not allowing Floridians access to treatment? What, for political reasons again? I mean, it's pretty bad stuff. Quick reminder, don't forget about that Locals channel. I do want you to go there. I want to turn to the markets right now, which are continuing to suffer in today's trading. It's just been a miserable kind of week. I mean, on Monday, can you imagine falling down 1,000 points and then managing miraculously to close up? But as I predicted, the volatility is here to stay, and I don't think that's going away anytime soon. So I think you need to be really thoughtful, really careful about your portfolio. As I have said all along, you really need to be well diversified. And that means, having some safe things. One of the safe things I like, actually, is gold. again, a similar story today as we look at today's market, because at one point you had the Dow, down 800 points, and it managed to claw back. We'll see how it shakes out by the finale here, but right now down just 32 points. S&P taking it a bit harder, down 52 points. I do think that people just need to take a deep breath, be thoughtful about making sure that they have a diversified portfolio, and that you're not hanging on for your last dime there in the markets, because things could get rocky. They'll probably continue to stay rocky. We're waiting, of course, on the Federal Reserve that's coming out on Wednesday with its decision on interest rates. The expectation is that we will see at least 4 rate hikes this year. If we get that, I would hope it would make a dent in inflation, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I think the problem is you have too much of a backlog in the supply chain, and that's not going to change. It's just not going to change overnight. The good news is gold, which is one of my favorite investments, in good times and in bad, is actually up in today's trading, $1,847 an ounce. And one of the reasons people like gold in an environment like this is it's that hedge against uncertainty, right? It gives you that sort of safe haven play. But as I said, I like it in good times and in bad, because I really do see it as a hedge against inflation. And even if you've got the Federal Reserve trying to fight it with interest rate cuts, it's not going to matter if you have such a messed up supply chain. In other words, it may make some difference on the parameter, but ultimately, if you can't affect the supply chain disaster that we have, and I don't believe we can right now, then you're still going to be left with inflation. So another reason, of course, to like gold. Again, upwards of $1,847 an ounce. When you take a look at gold, call my friends at Legacy Precious Metals. Great group over there, family-run business. They can help you in terms of figuring out whether you want a gold-backed IRA, whether you actually want real gold in your bank account or in your basement. They can manage that for you sort of from start to finish, and I think it's important to have sort of a guide as you approach all this. 1-866-589-0560. 0560 is their number. Again, 1-866-589-0560 if you are listening to the audio version of this podcast on Apple iTunes or on Spotify. And if you're watching, you see the number right there on the screen. You can go to legacypminvestments.com. Again, legacypminvestments.com. But I do think that there's reason for investors to be concerned. Now, one of the things, I mentioned this in yesterday's show, that I continually watch for is a heightened level on the VIX, because when I see the VIX, which is a measurement of fear, really start to increase, I mean, you think about where we were back in 2008, upwards of 72, 73 there in November of 2008, and in the 60s, of course, in March of 2020. Right now, today, we're just looking at about 30, which is actually down from where we were yesterday on the VIX. So, 30 on the VIX doesn't have me terribly worried that, or perhaps I should be more worried, because the concern is that you really haven't seen the bottom yet. When that VIX starts getting up into 50, 60 territory, then you kind of know, like, maybe this is the worst of it, right? So I don't think that we have seen the worst of it. I think whatever happens is going to be really, really important tomorrow on the Fed. So make sure you tune into this podcast. I'll have analysis of that Fed decision. And, I have my concerns, shall we say. They should have moved. They could have moved a long time ago. They didn't. And now they're scrambling to catch up to everything. Just a reminder, I'm going to be live on Rumble and Locals. It's actually Locals, but you can get to me through Rumble if you want. Just click on the icon there on the Rumble video. So if you're watching this on Rumble, make sure you do that. But I will be live on Locals, trishregan.locals.com, trishregan.locals.com this Friday at 4 p.m. I'm going to be answering all of your questions. So come my way, send them my way, and let's have a little party together. Again, I'll see you on the Locals channel this Friday, 4 p.m. And I'll be back here with you again tomorrow.